versus movie. Movie versus movie. Movie versus movie. Movie versus movie.
Welcome back, everyone, to Movie versus Movie. And of course, we are all here gathering as culture boys. I'm one of your hosts. I'm one of your hosts, Nick, and I'm joined here by another one of our great hosts and our great guest. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi, it's me, the other host, Patrick.
Hi, it's me, Jamie, the most beautiful, intelligent, smart, sexy, not host that you've ever heard.
Hell yeah. Great.
This is why you should always do my intros for me.
Yeah, I am retooling how we do these intros in my head, and we will edit this for next time.
Nick's like, let's just run it from the top again.
Yeah, let's just roll for the top. No, we're back here. We're talking, it is now post-Oscars. Neither of our movies won the category, which I was disappointed in. But how was your general Oscar experience this year? Where did you rate this Oscars? I kind of liked, everyone was sort of like, oh, it's kind of boring. But I kind of liked that it was just a straightforward award show instead of having weird shit happening, like the slap or whatever. I just liked that it was just sort of like, okay, let's give these awards out and go home. Sounds great.
Yeah, I was happy with this year, both for movies and level of drama. I know some people love the drama, and I'm not saying I didn't enjoy watching the slap or scream and wrestle my friend to the ground when Parasite won Best Picture, but yeah, I was kind of happy that Conan just did everything perfect as I expected him to.
Are you a huge Conan stan?
Conan is my comedy idol.
Yeah.
His
hot ones, perfection.
link it in the description of this video.
Yeah, gotta bring it back. Patrick, what about you? How was your award show?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I also love Conan. Conan was definitely my late night guy growing up. That was the one that you would watch. Did you guys get mad when he was because he was snubbed for the late night show or whatever? He got screwed over by Jay Leno. They gave him the show for a few months, and then Jay Leno was like, "Actually, I want it back."
Jay Leno can suck my butt.
Jay Leno can suck my butt. We would watch Letterman because Leno was right before Conan, but we liked Letterman more, and then we switch over to watch Conan. But Conan, I thought he was great on the Oscars. Mm-hmm. So his career is so fascinating because at this point he's almost more famous. I don't know, more famous, but I feel like he's still on an upward trajectory.
He has had I totally agree, Patrick. He has had a slow and steady climb into fame, but has always been an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
I feel
he doesn't have a show anymore. It's his podcast. His podcast is blown up, and then I guess he does travel specials still, which I feel like he just loves to do.
He could do anything and kill. I truly believe that, which is why they've already announced that he's hosting next year's Oscars.
Do you think that this is going to be this? How long do they usually keep a host? Because I know Jimmy Fallon did 2 years in a row, and Ricky Gervais has been sort of an on and off again host. So
I think I don't think they really know what they're doing. I know Billy Crystal did it a bunch. I think it's also become kind of a weird. It's kind of become radioactive. People don't want to do it. I think because it's kind of
it's really hard, right?
Yeah, there's not a lot of upside unless you're just good and funny and charming like Conan. And so I think they're someone that likes doing this and people liked watching it. Sweet, hell yeah.
Yeah, I think it's notorious so that people don't like doing it.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I was a comedian, I would not want to do that either.
Yeah. It's really because you have to
really
function.
Pissed that neither of you were like, Jamie, you are a comedian. Kind of insane. No one's asked me to host the Oscars yet.
We were all thinking it. We just did. We didn't think we had to say it.
Yeah, we knew it was a big joke.
Yeah,
but you were telling a big joke because you're such a comedian.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's, you know how they say truth in comedy? So when you were like, no, if I was a comedian, we didn't register it as like super funny, even though it was.
All right, move on. Stop modeling.
But it is, I feel like it's got to be a terrible audience because
yeah.
you're kind of supposed to make fun of them.
Well, think about any sort of host in any sort of production. Like you are, as the audience, just like, okay, get the hell out of here so that we can watch the thing that we actually wanted to see. You know what I mean? So you have you're constantly clawing whatever attention you can from them, and you're never given any sort of like easy mark because you just have to win over an audience constantly that just wants to be watching these awards.
Yeah.
So,
I was the opposite. I was like, give me more Conan. I don't want to hear fucking Amelia Perez songwriters sing another goddamn word.
Oh, that was horrific to experience live.
I don't want to hear Adrian Brody ramble on and not say anything at all. When he fucking told them to cut the music and then was like, no, I have so much more important things to say. And then he's like, I'd like to thank my parents. And it's like,
he had the longest speech ever, 5 minutes and like 30 seconds or something like that. Or 38.
Yeah, we need to stop giving awards to him. I think this is the last one. You know what I mean? Like, this is saying nothing about The Brutalist.
Okay.
I'm just saying about Adrian Brody. We've done it. We've established this. He's a good actor. We don't need to keep giving him this platform.
I think we'll just give him the award, but not let him talk.
Yeah. Be like,
listen, men.
Listen, Mr. Brody, we all love you here, but you cannot do a speech anymore.
Yeah, it was. You know what though? I'd rather listen to his speech 50 times in a row than listen to the Amelia Perez singing once.
Do you think that was the lowest point of the evening?
That was the lowest point of my life.
And there's been a lot of ups and downs.
It was kind of back to back. Well, no, actually. Maybe the singing was the lowest point. Of my 3 lows are that singing, the guy, what they won for one of the short categories. I think it was a man and a woman, and they were reading a speech translated into English from their phone. Oof, and he kept correcting her and telling her she was reading the wrong thing, and then just took the phone out of her hand and read the exact thing that she just read.
Yeah, like she was right, and she was so courteous about it. Like as he was reading what she had written, or what was like written on the phone that she had just said, she was just like sitting there being like, okay, smile through the pain. God bless that woman.
That was rough. And then the third low for me was the James Bond thing, because it just felt completely pointless, and like it took away from anything else that could have happened during that time.
I am starting to, I feel like I can kind of sense the marketing rhythms in the entertainment agency, like industry. Like I start just hearing about a specific thing all the time, all at once. And James Bond has been that recently. I think that they're really ramping up for like a new announcement of the new Bond and like an announcement of like the next movie, because I am hearing it on podcasts. I'm hearing it on YouTube. It's just like it's at the Academy Awards. I think that they're building to something with that.
Well, Amazon bought James Bond. So that was my assumption, was that Bezos just paid for that spot on the Oscars as an ad. But it was like they did Skyfall. Like I think they had like up and coming singers, and this is maybe just me not being aware, but it wasn't artists that I recognized. And then they were doing songs like the Oscars could get Adele to sing Skyfall.
Yeah,
but maybe
I think she has sang at the Oscars doing,
and they cut the full performances of the nominated songs, which I'm fine with because a lot of times they're pretty forgettable.
Because like 2 of them are Amelia Perez, so I'm completely fine hearing 500 James Bond.
This is the thing though, Patrick, is I disagree. I want to see more of the technical awards be elevated, because we have all these acting awards and I think that they all deserve their spot or whatever. But like, I want to see like a best stunts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I would love to see that category, or like
Hottest kiss.
Hottest kiss, yeah. But just like, you know, something that is a little bit more about like the technical side of everything. And like I would love like, best coloring in a movie. I think that already is one, but I would love to see like them have like a short presentation of why they chose the way they did or something. Like imagine like in Mad Max, Fury Road, Jamie, when like they do that scene where it's at nighttime, but they've shot it during the day and then color graded everything blue. Like, I just think that it would be so much more interesting if you took really specific, and it would encourage better filmmaking because you would have a category for people who really tried to be very expressive with like their bit of the technical process and making the movie. So I want more technical awards, and I want them to be more elevated and give those people time to talk about their craft.
I think you just want to learn something. I think you don't want to just sit through it and be like, all right, let's hand out these awards, which is a totally noble thing to feel. I think that there is a lot more room for that they don't take advantage of. But I wish every year they did a surprise category and it was something different every year, but it felt connected to the year.
Yeah. Who gets to choose the category?
Me.
Conan might host, but Jamie is really the power in the academy.
Conan I think the host should do a category like every year, hand out
host's favorite movie.
I wonder what Conan's favorite movie was this year.
My old ass, probably.
Maybe. My old ass was great.
Well, the fun thing too with Conan was like he did the monologue at the beginning and roasted people in the crowd, which is. But then I feel like when he talked about the movies, like he poked fun at them, but also was like, I'm still here. What a great movie. Like he listed off all the movies and seemed to genuinely be like talking about, like, seemed like he had seen them all and was like, I thought all these movies were great. At least the ones that he listed. So I do feel like sometimes they lean too far with your like Gervaises or Seth MacFarlane's. They lean too far into just like, we're just going to like skewer and like lampoon all of these movies, like is this
instead of like still because it is a celebration, right? You want there to still be an atmosphere of like sincere, like, wow, these were great movies. Or like, wow, what we do is important.
Genuinely are great movies. I mean, like for the most part, except for one.
Why do you think Amelia Perez like caught the heart of the awards this year?
Truly don't understand. Oh, my cat just meowed. I truly don't understand. And it makes me so mad because I'm like, Wicked's also another musical that was 10 million times better than Amelia Perez and got way less recognition, in my opinion. I don't know. I just the fact that it's so upsetting. Did you watch it?
I've watched. I watched most of it. Towards the end, I was sort of like, I'm sort of done, so I kind of started like just checking on updates. But yeah, I watched most of it.
It just felt so sloppy. I was like, why are we putting this like such a sloppily made movie that like clearly to me didn't feel like it had an appreciation for most of the elements involved. Like, I don't know. And I'm not saying that the Oscars have a stellar history of like doing well-researched and well-acted movies that are nominated, but I don't know. I think this one just like made me so mad because I was like, I feel like I can't even get through it. Like I've watched movies where I like have finished and been like, wasn't for me, but like I can respect that this is for someone or that it was a good movie, but like not for me. I like, who is that movie for?
Because it doesn't even really like, I was talking to someone who is very anti Amelia Perez because it does not feel like a Latinx movie. You know what I mean? Like that, it does not really go into the culture of the, Amelia Perez, or it doesn't really sink into like what that sort of like change means for that character. Really, it's just very washed, it's just sort of flattened out in a lot of ways, which just, even the music feels that way to me. Like if you listen to a song, it's like, man, did they just like squash the highs and lows of this so that it just feels like very, I don't know, it just, the whole movie felt very flat. I don't know.
I think there's like something to be said too for a musical where people listen to the music independently of the movie afterwards.
I have not heard a single person.
No, like, that doesn't exist with this movie. Unless they're making fun of it and stitching it to a TikTok. Which is not great. Patrick, did you love Amelia Perez?
Did not watch it, but I did see the clip of I want to learn about sex change operation.
It's everyone's favorite part.
I did get that part stuck in my head. So
Yeah.
no, I didn't watch it. I saw what I needed to see from it. It seemed like it was a movie that played at film festivals or a film festival, and like that crowd saw it and took something from it, and it like built buzz around that. And then as soon as it was released to the general public, people were like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think too, though, Nick, like you said, that almost seems like the most or no, scratch that. It's not the most offensive thing about the movie, but the most annoying thing from what I've heard about it is that people are just like, it wasn't even like it was just kind of like poorly made.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like it was this big bombastic swing that they took and completely whiffed, but they swung for the fucking fences. It just felt like kind of lazy and just like, I don't know, like here's just like throw some things at the wall that seem like buzzy.
It feels like the first draft of a movie.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like how there's that pilot from It's Always Sunny that they just like filmed on their like camcorder or whatever. It very much felt that way. I agree, Jamie, where it's like, oh, I can see the movie that they're trying to make in there, but this is not the final product.
This was like the first draft when you're really high and you're like, I have an idea, get some pen on paper. And the next morning you read it and you're like, sex change operation. What were we talking about?
All right, well, let's stop talking about Amelia Perez because we cannot spend a movie won 2 awards, and that's probably more than it should have.
I think, Patrick, the great move. Let's not talk about Amelia Perez ever again.
Let's talk about Boone now.
Well, I just wanted to ask sort of like which awards do you think they nailed, and which ones do you think that it was just like, what is this? This is not the pick that it should have been. I sort of feel like the best animated feature, that I thought that was a whiff.
It was. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see Flow, but it was interesting because everyone I talked to, I didn't really talk to anyone that loved Flow, so I was pretty surprised to see it win. I do love all of the content coming out of Latvia from how much they excited that they won, and they're like parading the trophy around and have like banners of the cat everywhere. So I'm like, good for them.
Yeah.
As a person that has a black cat, I do have some sincerity and like love that it won. Like when they were on the show, they put the cat holding the Oscar in the background. I wanted to print that out and put it in my wall. I just loved The Wild Robot so much that I really wanted that to win. I also really liked Memoir of a Snail, but I did not expect that to win. But it's good if anyone's looking for a good, mildly depressing but funny and good movie. Check it out. But I feel like my biggest happy moment was Kieran winning, because I love him and his speech was so cute, and I just want the best for him. I think he's talented, and I'm happy he won. And that's that.
He's interesting to me because, like, I agree, Jamie. I like seeing him in whatever he's in, really. Like, I always enjoy my experience with him, but also he sort of has not been on my radar as like a AAA actor. You know what I mean? He's done a lot of like sort of more on the independent, like the Michael Cera circuit of movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so to go from that circuit to an Academy Award seems like a pretty out of nowhere for me. I'm like you, I'm super glad that he won. I like him a lot. But that was another one where I was like, where did this nomination come from all of a sudden? Like,
did you see A Real Pain?
I didn't. Was it really good?
It was
very good.
It was very good, and his performance was really good.
His performance is like very good.
Yeah, no, and I don't doubt that at all. It's just like what a from out of nowhere, Kieran Culkin is now an Academy Award-winning actor.
Yeah,
totally. I think you're valid for thinking. Did you watch Succession?
Yeah, I watched.
I didn't watch it,
but some.
I didn't. So I didn't like have that because I know some people love him from Succession, And so I kind of felt like similar to what you were just saying of like, not like I didn't like him or that I loved him. I was just like indifferent, but like mostly like positive vibes
Yeah.
from him. So I like went in just being like, all right, like I went and watched a movie being like, whatever, I'm just gonna watch this tonight. It feels like I like Jesse Eisenberg, so like sure.
Yeah.
That movie's credits rolled and I was weeping. I was weeping. And I haven't had a movie do that to me in a really long time. And I don't know. I feel like we can all relate to just having a movie that might not be the most popular movie of the year, or like a movie that everyone's talking about, or like a movie that's even like well reviewed that just like really hits a chord with you and you
Yeah.
just like love. Like it went into my top 10 after I watched it because I enjoyed it so much. So, and like not to put pressure for you to like it if you don't like it. I mean, I think you will like it, but if you don't
Yeah.
love it like how I do, like I'm not gonna be upset. But I think it's definitely worth a watch. I think you would enjoy it.
Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely watch it. But Patrick, what were your highs and lows? What's the thing that you're like, woo, or in the thing you're like, boo? Your woos and boos, if you would.
I feel like I gave my boos a little bit already. I'd give a big woo to No Other Land winning for Best Documentary Feature.
Yeah.
I have not seen it yet. It was showing here. I don't know if they...
I think it's still showing at Kendall, which
Okay.
is a movie theater in town for those who are not Bostonians.
Yeah, I feel like between like Jonathan Glazer gave a speech last year when he won for Zone of Interest that didn't even really like explicitly talk about the war in Gaza, but I guess it was a little explicit, but like spoke to that kind of thing and got like huge backlash from that. Just huge unnecessary bad faith backlash from that. And so I think for them to give the prize to a Palestinian filmmaker for a movie about the Israeli occupation was was honestly surprising. I feel it kind of points to how the Academy voting body has changed in the last few years to be more diverse and generally younger. And yeah, I feel like that was the speech that the filmmaker gave was very, very moving and tough. And I mean, it's always just such a weird thing too. You know, you can't imagine like being there in this insane award ceremony thing, like having to fly to Hollywood to like say that. But I think to like get to speak on that platform in that way was cool.
That was really nice to see.
I also want to shout out the vampire from Nosferatu for winning for best score for The Brutalist.
Oh yeah.
He was poor guy.
When he stood up, I was
That's
like,
a great way to
whoa.
describe it.
He I mean, I'm super happy for him for winning, but he was so nervous up on that stage.
Yeah.
But
I
like,
would be so nervous because it's like
His
those
shoulders were
people
so
that aren't
high.
like celebrities winning thing. Like these people
Yeah.
are famous
feel like-
behind the scenes.
yeah, but that's always super cool to see too, because I think he was like an indie musician and then has pivoted to film scores recently, and him just like talking about did they show it? I'm trying to remember if they broadcast it on the Oscars or if it was another YouTube video I watched where he talked about recording the score. And granted, I haven't seen The Brutalist, but from the clips I heard, I think in my head, you know, you always imagine like a full orchestra playing in a big room, but it seemed like it was a lot more like individual recordings. And he went out and did these crazy field recordings, like in this giant quarry where they shot part of the movie, and they like recorded the firing of a gun to get the reverb, and then mapped that reverb over the like saxophone like motif that plays in a lot of the score. So it's super cool to see that. I feel like film scores, like, I don't know, I just love, I think I'm a big sucker too for like musical experimentation and like people doing stuff with that. I always think that's super cool.
Yeah, I always wish that sound design got a little bit more time to explain why they made certain choices as well. Like I kind of like, I think my problem mostly with the Oscars is that what I really want is sort of like a curator's note right before the award goes up, where like you can like someone tells you like that how they approach their work or what they wanted it to do and how they tried to achieve that, because I think that that's so fascinating. And like an artist at their height when they're doing a technical thing, like even if they're not doing scoring but they're doing sound design of a piece, like in Zone of Interest, where like the sound mapping of that movie is like the most insane thing I've ever experienced.
Yeah, the sound of the movie is wild.
Yeah, and like apparently that was 300. Like they had a library of like 300 to 500 individual noise samples, and they took all of the samples from the length away from the house they would be like being generated, the sounds. And so you have certain like, you know, screams or like flames or a gun going off, but it sounds all different all the time you hear them, because it's always at different points in the concentration camp next to the house. It's like, wow, that's an insanely detailed approach to that. And I don't think anyone like knew about that unless they're really into film, you know what I mean?
Or it's like that's a 1 second sound in the movie and they spent like not weeks, but like hours on it.
Yeah.
I think that's like fascinating too. I've watched so much of like the sound design for Dune, obviously, which is also like super fascinating. I can send you some links to that.
Yeah, the way they got the sound for the Bene Gesserits is like so interesting. It's like the weird throat singing, but like mixed with like some sort of like futuristic like synthesizer or like doubler that they had on the voices. It's very cool.
When they use the voice.
Yeah, they're like or whatever.
Oh, the Sardaukar chanting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know. I love the Sardaukar. Wild. Or even like the sandworm is the sound designer going. You're not, for the people that can't see me right now. You're just hearing me do something really weird. The like person that was the sound like opened his mouth and like put the mic down his mouth and just like breathed in crazy and then like amplified it a million times, and like that's what the sandworm is when it like comes up to, you know, devour. Sound design's sick. There's like so much cool content on YouTube to look into that too, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. So any last thoughts on the Oscars?
Yes.
Before we,
And it could be a good wrap up, honestly.
So we have to choose the next movies afterwards. So we could.
Okay. Wrap up to the conversation then. One of my favorite speeches was Sean Baker's speech about going to the movies more. It warmed my heart. And I am making a vow on this podcast now that next year I'm going to see all my movies in theaters for the Oscars.
Nice.
Love that.
You should become a member at like Somerville, because Somerville gives discounts to movie members, so you pay less in tickets, but they also have like special events and everything for membership holders and like VIP seats. So I think everybody who listens to this podcast should just check in with your local like small theater, because they always have some sort of membership program, and usually there's a lot of cool content. Like the Brattle in Harvard does a ton of events that like are like midnight events and like fun things. Like they do a Muppets marathon once a year, and they do all that kind of thing. So go check out your local movie theaters. They fucking rock.
They do cool events. Like so many local theaters do so many cool events. What were you gonna say, Patrick?
No, I think. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. I had one more Oscars thought before we switch topics.
Hit us.
But I did love Sean Baker's speech. I forgot about that. And for that to be like the like last speech after he like went up so many times, you're like, is he gonna have anything else to say? So super cool for him to be like, I want to say this. We promised this in our episode, but we can keep it short as we were gonna discuss the best fits, which we did a little bit offline. So I'll give my winner and runner up in best fit of the night. Winner, Wallace and Gromit. The Wallace and Gromit
You're right.
had little fits. Google it if you didn't see it. Wallace and Gromit Oscars. It was very cute. Runner up goes to June Squibb.
I was gonna say June Squibb. You took my one. I thought she did great, and also all of the interviews with her were so funny.
She's so funny. I feel like for presenter jokes, I liked hers the best. And her memory was so spot on when she said that she was actually what's his name, Alexander Skarsgård.
Very funny. Very funny.
Yeah, I feel like June Squibb is somebody that we may have missed a moment on with her like doing more movies when she was like slightly younger, but I am loving this moment with her. Every time I see her in an interview, every time I see like a movie she's in or whatever, I'm just like, this is nice. She's good.
Yeah, good human vibes in the best way. My favorites, as we kind of discussed recently for the last episode, was Coleman Domingo just doing his thing. But besides,
do you think that
like,
all the other celebrities are like, fuck this guy? Because
no, I think everyone's drooling. Well, during a commercial break, he went up and started dancing on stage and took a shot. If that's not the coolest man you've ever met in your life, DM me and tell me.
Because I want to see who you think is cool.
I actually also want to give a shout out to Ariana Grande because I loved her pink dress. I thought that looked so beautiful on her. And then I also loved her dress when she was singing on stage, the red one, minus the heel detail on the back. I did not enjoy the heel detail. Sorry, there I said it. But I think that red dress, that silhouette from the front is like chef's kiss buttes. So Ariana kind of took it for me.
That performance was also very, very good. Alice was like, she fucking killed it. Better than the movie kind of thing.
Come in and there's a rainbow.
Very good.
That would be my LinkedIn pick until the end of time.
All right, so why don't we put the Oscars to bed? Good night, Mr. Oscar. We'll see you next year. And why don't we talk about next month's movies? So, Patrick, I have somebody who really wants to talk about When Harry Met Sally. So I was thinking, like, what would be something good or a category that could pair these? And I think I've come up with a category if you want to ruminate on it with me, and we can always do something else as well. But the category would be movies that defined their subgenres. So like When Harry Met Sally established a formula that was copied for the entirety of the 2000s. Like every rom-com
and
was
never
just
done
When Harry
as well.
Met. Yeah, exactly. Like every rom-com was When Harry Met Sally, and either did not succeed where they did or were able to mimic a little bit of their success. And I think that because it was so kind of genre defining for that period, that it deserves to go up against something that also did that. So I was thinking, like, you know, Rocky defined sports movies for a while. There was, you know, Halloween changed how slashers kind of were made and what they looked like. And I have some other ones too, but I was thinking, do you think that category works?
I love that. I think that's a great category. I'd be really excited to talk about When Harry Met Sally. Can you reveal who this mystery potential guest is? You want to keep it a secret?
Yeah, so as another person from the Boston comedy scene, Whitney. But I will, since I don't know if she wants me to dox her on air, I will wait until she comes on to introduce herself.
Love that.
She says the exact same intro I gave at the beginning.
No, I think that's a great idea. Sorry, I'm looking at now Reddit threads about
you can also do like
movies.
Friends to Lovers.
Yeah, Friends to Lovers is another one. Can I run some movies I was thinking of by you guys, and you guys can see if any of these are interesting. There's okay, just scrolling. Okay, so I got somebody saying like any of the Oceans movies, but like Oceans 11 as like the heist movie archetype of like assembling a team and doing that kind of thing. We could do something like a movie that we don't like as much, like Love Actually, which is sort of like the blueprint for the ensemble rom-com. Okay,
Never
Jamie, we
it.
see two thumbs down on
Jamie
that.
did 2 thumbs down for that.
There's Blair Witch Project, which really kind of defines the found footage sort of spike
Or
in
like
the mid.
I feel like that was also
2000s.
like documentary vibes too.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like that fake documentary, like real found footage thing, because like there was like Cloverfield and everything that came after it.
That's good.
Yeah, we could also do like, there's stuff like The Exorcist or Alien that sort of defined, you know, different parts of the horror movie genre. But I know, Patrick, you and I aren't like so into horror movies, so maybe
but I've never
steer away.
I've never seen either of those, and I feel like they are big ones on the, you know, in the canon. It's sorry, do you have more? I'd love to hear more. If you have.
I think, somebody mentioned Cannibal Holocaust, which is like another found footage one, but it's like a crazy like B movie that was I think a little too extreme for what we want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the ones that I said were the ones that I was thinking of mostly. Do you have any other ones?
Think of the ones you mentioned, just from a movies that I love and would like to talk about perspective. I love Ocean's 11.
Mm-hmm.
I love Ocean's 11 too. It's so good.
Yeah. And there's value in just watching movies that we want to watch. But there's other, I mean, the horror one is interesting too, because I mean, that's, if we're talking about genre, like I think Oceans would be like the movie I want to watch and talk about, but I don't know if it fits the theme as well as some of these other ones.
Yeah, there's also like the Night of the Living Dead kind of created the zombie genre and the zombie monster and popularized it. So like that is like a completely defined monster horror movies for like, you know, quite a long time.
You could do sci-fi horror and do Alien.
Yeah, Alien was on the list too. I think that's great. We've done Alien on the podcast with one of our previous hosts, so like we could definitely talk about it again. There's mostly new staff on this podcast now.
New staff,
so we could definitely try it. But Alien is just such a good movie too that I'm always down to watch it. So it's really, like Patrick said, there is value in doing movies that we like.
Sure. I'm trying to think of what's the like defying thriller movie.
There's like
Silence of the Lambs, kind of.
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs. What about the one that has the woman who crosses her legs, like Basic Instinct or whatever, which is like the sexual...
we could do like erotic thriller.
Yeah, the erotic thriller.
Because you can't not do erotic without me.
Jamie's like, fuck that. I want to be on that episode.
We could do erotic thrillers. I mean,
Basic Instinct or something.
This is giving weird ones.
Movies that make me hot. Movies that make me sweat.
Yeah. Man, this is such a good. I love this theme, and
it's a fun theme. Good job, Nick.
But there's also stuff like Ben-Hur or something that's like the epic adventure movie.
You could go farther back, or even for thriller, like you could do like a Hitchcock movie. You could do like
Psycho or something.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like, how far back do you go? Because I feel like for heist movie, it's like there's definitely stuff before Oceans that it's playing with.
We could also do Jaws as like the first big summer blockbuster. That
could be really good too. I've actually never seen Jaws.
Whoa. Okay. Wow.
That's fun. Maybe that then.
I mean, do we keep it for the summer though? It's such a summer movie.
That's real. That should be like the podcast that comes out on like the first day of summer.
I mean, I watched the first Frankenstein a little while back, and that's like the first of the Monsterverse when they were doing like Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman.
I guess what are like other genres? There's like buddy cop genre.
What about like spaghetti westerns? That's one too. Spaghetti westerns, buddy cop, procedurals. I think
you guys should watch Blazing Saddles.
We could
comedies. There's like
we could do like dystopian movies and do like Blade Runner or something.
I'm not going to be on the podcast for that one.
Did not like Blade Runner.
I've not seen the first one. Only seen the new one.
Yeah. I don't know. These are all good options. I like Ocean's 11 a lot. I will always do an episode on that movie just because I feel like it is probably the most replayable movie in history. I feel like I could put that on in any room at any time and it would just be okay.
Good airplane movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think too, like, yes, 100%. Best Ocean's 11 is, have we talked about this? Because that's like my platonic ideal of an airplane movie. Because it is a movie I've seen 100 times, but it's always like going to be entertaining. I think Oceans could be good because I kind of feel like When Harry Met Sally is kind of a juggernaut. And if we want it to be like an interesting competition,
you need to
we got to put another juggernaut. And I think
we need Clooney.
Yeah, I think kind of
bring Clooney in.
Like going back on what I said earlier, I guess like When Harry Met Sally isn't necessarily the first rom-com either, but it did kind of perfect the formula, like you said.
It just created a formula, which I think that Ocean's 11 does as well, because it created the sort of ensemble comedy heist movie that was like super popular for 20 years. I don't know. I think it's such a good movie. It's such a good cast, and the music fucking rocks.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's an incredible.
You got to do it, and I think it'll be a good. I'll have a hard time picking, and maybe we're grading it on which one, which one best embodies the genre too. Could be great.
Yeah, I think that's going to work on a lot of levels. We can talk about how well it defines its formula. Because like, I think that When Harry Met Sally created like it sort of tweaked it where it's like these people are friends for 10 years, but they go through obstacles and other things, but they definitely start a strong kind of structure of plot. Ocean's 11 comes out of the gate with a perfect structure. It is one of the greatest like contrivances in cinema history, that all of these people work in such a way to make such a fun heist happen. But like, wow, nailed it. First time out. It's just 1,000.
And did it again. Like the other Ocean's movies aren't bad.
Ocean's 12 is the worst one, and I liked it. I like the weird French man who does all the like splits and stuff.
Yeah, the dance, the like laser dance.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah, the song they do over that is like insane. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And the whole Julia Roberts thing. But I also think this could be fun, like similar to the Manic Pixie Dream Girl episode, where we can also like kind of dive into like revisiting the like Ur text and being like look at how they've massacred our boys with like all the thinking about how they've fucked this up in other movies. And
there's a lot of Gerard Butler rom-coms of like the late 2000s, early 2010s that were just Harry Met Sally clones, except the main characters are just assholes with no charisma, and I'm like, I fucking hate those movies.
That's insane.
Okay, but P.S. I Love You was really good.
But that's not the rom-coms.
I know, but you said Gerard Butler, and I just got excited.
Yeah, now he's just in full like scumbag mode, which I think is kind of where he works the best.
He works best. He wants to do another 300. You know what I mean?
Let him. Let him.
Airbrush those abs on.
Yeah, let him.
But yeah, I love that idea. I think it's a great idea. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. All right, that's the pair then. We're doing When Harry Met Sally versus Ocean's 11. Genre definers. I'm so excited. Any final thoughts before we close down Culture Boys?
Thank you so much, Jamie, for joining us again this month to talk Oscars. And
favorite time of the year. Thanks for having me, boys.
Yeah, we'll have to do a sexy erotic thriller episode now.
Man, honestly, an erotic thriller episode is just gonna like bring me straight back to the 90s. I'm so excited. Like we can do
for better and for worse.
Because there's like, there's Double Jeopardy. There's the one that I was saying earlier. What was it called?
Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct. There's
Wild
Indecent
Things.
Proposal.
Yeah, Wild Things. There's I watched some Brian De Palma recently, which definitely fit into that, like Body Double. There's a lot here.
Would you say Boogie Nights counts, or is that more of just a drama?
I've never seen all of Boogie Nights.
Neither have I.
My impression, I don't know if I'd count it as erotic thriller.
Yeah. I feel like it's more like
What we got?
day in the life almost, except
Day
very much
in the life of
dramatized.
a porn star.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Anyways.
All right.
All right.
Cool. All right, then let's shut this thing down. We will see you all next week. If you have anything you would like to say to us, the email is in the show notes. You can also find all of our Letterboxed accounts in there. It's the only social media that Patrick has at this point. So if you want to keep up with our boy, you're going to have to be on Letterboxd. All right, everyone. We'll see you next month for a couple more episodes of Movie versus Movie and Culture Boys. Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Movie versus movie. Movie versus movie. Movie versus movie. Movie versus movie.